ল ব্যারেট রেজিস্টার্ড আইনি প্রতিষ্ঠান। আমরা সুপ্রিম কোর্ট, হাইকোর্ট, জেলা কোর্ট, ক্রেতা সুরক্ষা আদালত প্রভৃতি কোর্টে যে কোনো আইনি সমস্যায় আপনাদের পাশে সর্বদা। আজকে যে ভিডিওটা সেটা ল ব্যারেটের তরফ থেকে দেখানো হচ্ছে। আজকে যে ভিডিওটা এটা তার দ্বিতীয় পর্ব, তা আপনাদের পুরোটা দেখার জন্য অনুরোধ করা হচ্ছে। Article 19, protection of certain rights regarding freedom of speech, etc. All citizens shall have the right to freedom of speech and expression, to assemble peacefully and without arms, to form association or unions, to move freely throughout the territory of India, to reside and settle in any part of the territory of India, and to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business, notwithstanding in subclause A or clause 1 shall affect the operation of any existing law or prevent the state from making any law insofar as such law imposes reasonable restriction on the exercise of the right confirmed by the said subclause in the interest of the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, decency or morality, or in relation to contempt of court, defamation or incitement to an offence. Nothing in clause B of the said clause shall affect the operation of any existing law insofar as it imposes or prevent the state from making any law imposing in the interest of the sovereignty and integrity of India or public order reasonable restrictions on the right conferred by the said subclause. Nothing in subclause C of the said clause shall affect the operation of any existing law insofar as it imposes or prevent the state from making any law imposing in the interest of the sovereignty and integrity of India or public order or morality reasonable restrictions on the exercise of the right conferred by the said subclause. Nothing in subclause A and E of the said clauses shall affect the operation of any existing law insofar as it imposes or prevent the state from making any law imposing reasonable restrictions on the exercise of any of the right conferred by the said subclause either in the interest of the general public or for the protection of the interest of any scheduled tribe. Nothing in clause G of the said clauses shall affect the operation of any existing law insofar as it imposes or prevent the state from making any law imposing in the interest on the general public reasonable restriction on the exercise of the right conferred by the said subclause, and in particular nothing in the said subclause shall affect the operation of any existing law insofar as it relates to or prevent the state from making any law relating to the professional or technical qualification necessary for practicing any profession or carrying on any occupation, trade or business, or the carrying on by the state or by a corporation owned or controlled by the state, or any trade, business, industry or service, whether to the exclusion complete or partial of citizen or otherwise. Article 20 defines protection in respect of conviction for offences. No person shall be convicted of any offences except for violation of a law in force at the time of the commission of the act charged as an offence, not be subjected to any penalty greater than that which might have been inflicted under the law in force at the time of the commission of the offence. No person shall be prosecuted and punished for the same offence more than one. No person accused of any offence shall be shall be compelled to be a witness against himself. Article 21. Protection of life and personal liberty. No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. Article 21A. Right to education. The state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age of 6 to 14 years in such manner as the state may by law determine. The state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. No citizen shall on ground only or of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them be subject to any disability, liability, restriction, or condition with regard to accesses to shops, public restaurants, hotels, and places of public entertainment, or the use of wells, tanks, bathing ghats, roads, and places of public resort maintained whole or partly out of state funds or dedicated to the use of general public. Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any special provision for women and children. Nothing in this article or in clause 2 or article 29 shall prevent the state from making any special provision for the advancement of any special and educational background classes or citizen for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Article 22. Protection against arrears and detention in certain cases. Against arrest and detention. No person who is arrested shall be detained in custody without being informed as soon as may be of the grounds for such arrest, nor shall he be denied the right to consult and to be defended by a legal practitioner of his choice. Every person who is arrested and detained in custody shall be produced before the nearest magistrate within a period of 24 hours of such arrest, excluding the time necessary for the journey from the place of arrest to court of the magistrate, and no such person shall be detained in custody beyond the said period without the authority of a magistrate. Nothing in clause 1 and 2 shall apply to any person who for the time being is an enemy alien, or to any person who is arrested or detained under any law providing for prevention detention. No law providing for preventive detention shall authorize the detention of a person for a longer period from 3 months unless an advisory board consisting a person who are or have been or are qualified to be appointed as judges of a high court has reported before the expiration of the said period of 3 months that there is in its opinion sufficient causes for such detention, provided that nothing in this subclause shall authorize the detention of any person beyond the maximum period prescribed by any law made by Parliament under clauses B of clause 7, or such person is detained in accordance with the provision of any law made by Parliament under subclause A and B of clause 7. When any person is detained in pursuance of an order made under any law providing for preventive detention, the authority making the order shall as soon as may be communicate to such person the grounds on which the order has been made, and shall afford him the earliest opportunity of making a representation against the order. Nothing in clause 5 shall require the authority making any such order as is referred to in that clause to disclose facts which such authority consider to be against the public interest to disclose. Parliament may by law prescribe the circumstances under which the class or classes of cases in which a person may be detained for a period longer than 3 months under any law providing for preventive detention without obtaining the opinion of an advisory board in accordance with the provision of subclauses A of clauses 4. The maximum period for which Any person may, in any class or classes of cases, be determined under any law providing for preventive detention, and the procedure to be followed by an advisory board in an inquiry subclause A of clause 4. Article 23, prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor. Traffic in human beings and beggar and other similar forms of forced labor are prohibited, and any contravention of this provision shall be an offence punishable in accordance with law. Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from imposing compulsory service for public purposes, and in imposing such servicing of the state shall not make any discrimination on ground only of religion, race, caste, or class of any of them. Article 24, provision of employment of children in factories, etc. No child below the age of 14 years shall be employed to work in any factory or mine or engaged in any other hazardous employment. এই ভিডিওটা পার্ট 3তেও কন্টিনিউ হবে, সেটা দেখার জন্য অনুরোধ করা হচ্ছে। থ্যাংক ইউ অল, লবেটের তরফ থেকে এই ভিডিওটা দেখার জন্য ধন্যবাদ। ভিডিওটা ভালো লাগলে অবশ্যই লাইক করুন, সাবস্ক্রাইব করবেন এবং চ্যানেলটা শেয়ার করুন যাতে সবাই দেখে।